Last time we left Prometheus chained to his mountain, the eagle circling, the punishment as steady as the turning of the earth. But Zeus is not a king who stops at one answer. Fire still burns in human hearths. Humans are still growing, still building, still asking questions that make the powerful nervous. So Zeus turns his mind toward something more patient than chains. Something that would solve the problem of humanity not with pain, but with a gift. And gifts, as you will learn tonight, can be the most dangerous things in all of creation. He wanted a consequence that would look like mercy. He went to Hephaestus first, the smith god, the one who walks with a limp and builds with hands that have never once made something ordinary. There is something beautiful and sad about Hephaestus. He is the craftsman of the immortals, shaping wonders for gods who often admire his work more than they notice him. But when Zeus comes to him with this particular commission, the smith does not hesitate. He is given clay and water and divine instruction, and he begins to work. Picture the forge, the enormous heat, the orange glow, the rhythmic sound of creation being shaped against something hard. Only this time, what Hephaestus is building is not a weapon, not a throne, not a tool of war. He is shaping a person, a woman formed from the earth itself, carefully made, deliberately proportioned, so striking that even the immortals would pause to look twice. He gives her breath, the warmth of life, the architecture of a living thing. He works like a sculptor who knows this is both his finest commission and his most morally complicated one. And when the shape is finished, the other gods begin to gather. This is the part that should unsettle you, even though it is also, somehow, beautiful. Athena drapes her in garments woven with skill and teaches her hands the patience of fine craft. Aphrodite breathes over her something impossible to ignore that pull people feel in the chest before they understand why. The Graces leave her with radiance, a beauty that seems to move outward from her like warmth from a fire. Then Hermes steps forward. Hermes, the quick-tongued one, the clever one, gives her a voice that persuades and a mind that leans toward curiosity the way a flower leans toward light. And some tellers say he gives her something darker too, a subtle edge of cunning, a cleverness that can slide truth sideways, a restlessness that cannot leave the hidden thing alone. Each gift wraps around the last, layer upon layer, until she stands in the halls of Olympus as perhaps the most elaborately prepared being ever made. They call her Pandora. In the old tongue, the name reaches toward something like all gifted, or gifted by all, the one who carries the whole divine catalog inside her. It sounds generous. It sounds like a blessing. Every god contributed something: beauty, skill, charm, persuasion, curiosity. She was extraordinary. She was also a trap. And now Zeus needed somewhere to send her. This is where Prometheus's brother enters the story. His name was Epimetheus. And where Prometheus looked forward and saw the consequence before it arrived, Epimetheus understood things after they had already happened. That is a very human kind of wisdom, and a very dangerous kind in a world where gods play long games. He was not foolish, but he was warm, and warmth is easy for cold power to exploit. His brother had warned him, directly, clearly, in the way a person warns someone they love before stepping into permanent suffering. Do not accept any gift from Zeus, not under any circumstances. Whatever arrives, whatever it looks like, whatever it promises, let it pass. The king of the gods does not give, he places. Epimetheus had agreed. And then Pandora arrived. Some say she appeared at his door. Some say Hermes delivered her himself, smooth-spoken and casual, the way trouble often arrives. However it happened, Epimetheus looked at her, this woman shaped by all the gods, radiant and warm and filled with presence, and every reasonable thought in his mind grew quieter. He accepted her. He remembered what Prometheus had said. He remembered it even in that moment, the way people often remember the rule at the exact instant they decide to break it. But Pandora was standing there, real and beautiful, and full of all those divine gifts. And Epimetheus opened the door. She stepped into the human world, and for a little while, it must have felt like wonder. Imagine what it was like for her, too. Born in divine fire, but placed into something mortal and uncertain. She walked under a sky vast and blue and nothing like the forge. She touched grass, heard wind, smelled food cooking over flame. She was curious about everything because curiosity had been built into her bones, and the world was full of things no one had yet explained to her because she had only just arrived in it. She was not wicked. Understand that clearly. Pandora was not a villain dropped into a story to cause suffering. She was a person made with tremendous deliberateness by powers who understood exactly what they were doing and placed into a situation designed from the beginning to end one way. Some old tellers blame her, but the deeper cruelty is this. She was made to be blamed, and in the house there was a jar. In the oldest tellings, it is a jar, large and sealed, the kind of vessel you might use to store something through a long winter. Later, tellers turned it into a box, and that is the version most people carry now. But the older image is stranger and heavier, a clay jar, sealed and silent, sitting in the home like an object that carries its own warning. It came with her, or near enough that it might as well have. No explanation, just a presence. And one rule was understood without being spoken. Do not open it. What it held was not meant for daylight. And yet, curiosity had been placed inside Pandora as deliberately as fire had been placed inside a fennel stalk. Knowing exactly what it would eventually do, she opened the jar. And this is the moment where the story shifts from a myth about divine revenge into something larger, because what poured out was not a punishment aimed at one person. It was a change in the structure of human life itself. Permanent, total, irreversible suffering. Not the kind that passes and leaves you wiser, the grinding kind, the kind that returns before the last wound has healed. Sickness creeping into the body and taking up residence. Fevers in the night, a cough that does not stop. Grief hollowing a person from the inside after loss. Old age arriving slowly and then all at once, bending the strong and dimming the sharp. Toil that never ends, season after season of labor just to stay alive. Crops failing, hunger returning even after you have eaten. Envy, worry, weariness, all the smaller miseries that never make themselves grand, but never fully leave either. They scattered into the world like seeds, and unlike seeds, they planted themselves everywhere, in every village, in every household, in every body, in every year that followed. Before the jar opened, the old stories tell us humans still lived and worked and eventually died, yes. But life had a different texture, simpler, cleaner. Hardship existed, but not with this same constant pressure from every direction at once. After Pandora opened the jar, something changed in the fabric of existence. Not just that bad things existed, but that bad things were woven into everything. That beauty and suffering now lived in the same house, that every gift carried a shadow, that nothing would ever again be simply good without also being fragile. The gods had answered fire. They could not take back what Prometheus had given, but they could complicate it forever. And then Pandora closed the jar. What remained inside was something smaller than what had escaped, quieter, resting against the clay at the bottom. Hope. This is the part where you have to stop and think carefully, because wise tellers have argued over it for thousands of years and still have not settled it. Is hope preserved for humanity, kept safe inside the jar so that suffering can never fully destroy it? Or is hope still trapped there, sealed away, withheld from the creatures who need it most? I will not tell you which answer is right. I am not sure there is one. What I will tell you is that the story ends on that uncertainty for a reason. And that uncertainty may be the truest thing in it. Because hope is exactly like that in real life. It is there and not there. It feels close and proves distant. You cannot always tell whether it is helping you endure or simply making the waiting harder. The gods established their order. They divided the world, filled the heavens, punished their enemies, and answered the theft of fire with a carefully constructed consequence. But the world they now rule is not the clean, ordered world Zeus imagined after the Titans fell. It is burdened, it is beautiful, and burdened at once. It holds grief and grace in the same two hands.